Alright, got a cool video for you guys today that I think you'll all like. And what it is it's on this big 2U rack server. And I have to go ahead and take it apart and change some stuff out, so we'll go ahead and do a video on that. So, the problem it's having is there's an issue with Windows and it's all tripping out with a wireless card, which at one point already taken out, but it was one of these D-Link 802.11g cards. Kind of, I guess, crapped out. In 2008, R2 doesn't like that. So what we're going to do is I actually have to take the hard drive out of here, which is a 320 gigabyte Seagate? Yeah. And then over in the Mac Pro I'm doing some kind of video card stuff for this. But there's a 500 gig Western Digital Enterprise drive, and that drive will be going in the server, and I'll take the 320 out of the server and put it in Mac Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and take this all down, and when I have it on my bed and ready to look at it, we will. Alright, so here it is. And just from the front, because I didn't do a very good shot of this when it's over on my dresser, but over here is this is actually a Norco RPC-270 or something kind of like that case. And over here we have a power button, a reset button, you have a USB, and then you have what would have been, you won't be able to see it I don't think, but like a power light, a hard drive activity light, and then 2 network lights. And then over here is a memory card reader, which has all kinds of different things and another USB port. And underneath that's a LightScribe DVD burner, which is having issues, so we're going to take that out and replace it. Go ahead and take a look at the back. Of course, we have a 500 watt power supply. We have PS2 USB serial VGA, which is like 8 meg ATI Rage 128 or something graphics, 2 gigabit Ethernet, and then this doesn't do anything. It would have been for a graphics card, but it's just the VGA thing. So I don't think I have any screws on it. Let's go ahead and pop it open. It just slides off, and then oops, pull from the back up. Then you can remove that big piece of metal, and here you are on the insides. So, because there's only one USB header in here, I only have the memory card hooked up. So I can't use that other USB port, which isn't much of a problem because servers really don't need a gazillion USB ports. But we can see in here, it's kind of getting pretty dusty. When I had first got this, the guy was selling it for $50. I got it for $40, and he had like 2 of them, or actually 3. And he had one that he sold already, and then this one and another one, which was working fine, but this one had a dead motherboard, so I wanted the project, so he just gave me the new motherboard to it, and then I swapped it all out. And while I was doing that, I bent a pin on one of the processors. I can't tell, but I dropped the pin in a little socket and put the CPU over it, and it's worked fine since, so who knows. And then I didn't get an IR shield for it. But looking at it, we have a hard drive over here. That's that 320 gig Seagate drive from a Dell Inspiron 537S. Yeah, the one I turned into the Dell last year October. And then of course we have the memory card and then a DVD burner. Right here is just where some kind of cables are at, but if this was like a normal case that you bought, you could actually put a ATX board in here and then mount a computer power supply right here, and then right here would have been another, like one of these hard drive things, and then just an extension cable from the back to this area. And looking at it, we have 4 80mm fans, I believe, and what I noticed is if they're hooked up to this little board right here, which is through Molex 4-pin power, you get all these USB or 3-pin fan headers, and if you put them on this, they're not controlled, so they're as loud as they can be, which this thing does get pretty loud if that's the case. However, the motherboard itself is an Asus K8N DRE, and it's got like 12 fan headers all around that are thermal controlled, so it's not nearly as loud. And for RAM, this is DDR RAM. There's 4 gigs to each processor, and each of these processors are AMD Opteron 290s, which are 2.8 gigahertz dual cores, I believe, so there's really quad cores. And then going over here, we have what would be a PCI X16 slot, so you put like graphics cards in here or whatever, and then a old PCI down there, and then this is just something for RAID or something, I believe, and then just a big open gap. More fan headers right here. You have 4 serial, or not 4 serial, 4 SATA, and then you have 2 IDE. Like I said, this is a iStar USA 500 watt power supply. I don't know how I know that. It's got to be somewhere on here, but I just know that. So what we need to do is we need to take that hard drive out and that little DVD drive. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on a, what do you call them? Tripod, so that way I can do this with 2 hands. Alright, you guys look pretty good on the tripod. So we have the DVD drive here, which is just some SH S243 made in February of 2010. And we have our Western Digital 500 gig enterprise storage. It's just a slow hard drive, so it's not all that intuitive for me when I have to be running like Photoshop and stuff and I need a fast system. So to start out with, we're going to just go ahead and unplug the cables. Nothing too crazy. This is just if you have this case or something. I know it's probably not all that interesting video, but just to take a look at it. And because apparently this power supply doesn't have any SATA things, it's got a Molex to SATA power. So you're good there. And next you gotta do is, there's actually a screw down here, where my finger's at, like way down here. But I don't have it in because it's really a pain to get in there. So it just slides on out, and you can go ahead and unscrew it, which it looks like I have 2 screws on this side. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. There we go. There's our hard drive. Go ahead and throw in the new one. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the top. Okay. Damn it. Okay, our hard drive is in here. Now, next up is the disk drive. And in order to do this, there is a screw right here. Go ahead and take that guy out. Well, and then there's another one right here on the other side of it. As soon as you do that, it should be able to slide right on out. And there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug the little USB thing on the motherboard for it. And then, of course, as usual, there's 4 screws, or 2 screws right there, and then 1 on this side. That way, just because the hard drive rubs up against it, so usually I don't have any screws on the opposing sides. Okay, so it's all in there now. Now we just gotta pop this guy back in. You make sure you get it on the feet properly. These little guys. Just gotta slide into the little thing on the bottom. There we go. Go ahead and screw it on in now. Okay. Okay. Just time to wire it on up. Okay. Out of the door. Okay. There we have it. Next up is to put the side panel back on. There's the way. Alright, here we are back at the server, just about to install Windows 2008 R2, because Windows 8 has some issues, and I'll dive to that in just a minute. So I know this is a crap 15-inch screen, but it's what I got, so that's what I'm going to have to deal with. But on this flash drive right here, this is a 16 gig Lexar, I have hopefully Windows 2008 R2. If not, it's going to be Windows 7 or some flavor of Windows 8. So we're going to go ahead and turn this guy on. It's going to get loud for just a second. And we have to get in the BIOS, so I gotta press the delete key as soon as the ASUS logo shows up, so that way you can tell it to boot from the flash drive and not like some hard drive. Alright. Go to boot. So that's good, it's already selected as the main deal. However, what I'm worried about is it doesn't see that hard drive. So we don't see the hard drive here. I'm going to go ahead and look back at it. Sure enough, that's all it was because there's so much tension on that power cord, it didn't seem to want to get power to the hard drive. So some of you may be asking why I'm not putting 2012 on here. And supposedly 2012 will install fine. However, 2012 R2 just has issue after issue. And one of the issues with AMD processors is this error, which says this PC cannot run Windows 8.1, and it says you cannot install Windows 8.1 because your processor does not support prefetch W. 2012 is the same way, and I think this is pretty retarded, but it's something Microsoft did in an effort to like make Windows 8 PCs more secure. And not only was this with AMD processors such as the Opteron, which is what's inside the server, but also like Athlon 64s and all these different computers. And one of them was that had an issue on the Intel side of things was my Dell Optiplex GX620 that had a 3 GHz PenAMD. And what had happened with that was I got the same prefetch W error, and I needed a apparently higher end processor from not an 8X series PenAMD but a 9X. But I'm not gonna bother. So another reason to dislike Windows 8.